take off your boa and come near the fire. You'll find this quite a comfy chair, I think. Tea will be brought in presently. Oh, you really must, after traipsing all that way across the common. I can't tell you how pleased I am to see you. I've so often wished to make your acquaintance, but I couldn't take the first step, could I? So nice of you to break the ice." Lady Harriet submitted to these rather effusive attentions resignedly enough. She could hardly interrupt her hostess's flow of conversation without rudeness, while she had already begun to suspect that Mrs. Stimpson might form an entertaining study. But her chief reason, after all, was that the prospect of tea had its attractions. Accordingly, she attempted no further explanations of her visit just then, and was content to observe Mrs. Stimpson while she rippled on complacently. She saw a matron who might be about 50, with abundant pale auburn hair piled up and framing her face in a sort of half aureole. The eyes were small and hazel green, the nose narrow and pointed, the wide full-lipped mouth, which wore just then a lusciously ingratiating smile, showed white but prominent teeth. The complexion was of a uniform oatmeal-y tint, and, though Mrs. Wibberley Stimpson was neither tall nor slim, she seemed to have taken some pains to preserve a waist. "Most fortunate I happened to be at home," she was saying, "and if you had called on one of my regular days, I shouldn't have had the chance of a real talk with you. As it is, we shall be quite tête-à-tête. Ah, here is tea. You must tell me if you like it weak, dear Lady Harriet, and I shall remember the next time you come. Yes, you find me all alone this afternoon. My eldest daughter, Edna, has gone to a lecture at her Mutual Improvement Society on a German philosopher called Nietzsche, or some such name. She's so bookish and well read, takes such an interest in all the latest movements, runs up to town for matinees of intellectual dramas. Quite the modern type of girl, but not a blue-stocking. She's joined a tango class lately, and dances most beautifully, I'm told. Just the figure for it. We got up a little costume ball here this winter. Perhaps you may have heard of it. Ah, well, my Edna was generally admitted to be the belle of the evening. A perfect Juliet, everybody said. I went as her mother, Lady Capulet, you know. I did think of going as Queen Elizabeth at one time. I've so often been told that if I ever went to a fancy dress ball, I ought to go as her, or at all events as one of our English queens. But however, I didn't. Mr. Stimpson went as a Venetian doge, but I do not consider myself that it was at all suitable to him. She did not say all this without a motive. She knew that a local historical pageant was being arranged for the coming summer, and that Lady Harriet was on the committee. Also, she had heard that, after rehearsals had begun, some of the principal performers had resigned their parts, and the committee had some difficulty in finding substitutes. It had struck her as not at all unlikely that her visitor had called with a view to ascertaining whether the services of any of the Stimpson household would be available. If she had, it was, of course, very gratifying. If she had merely come in a neighbourly way, there was no harm in directing her attention to the family qualifications for a pageant performance. Her hearer, without betraying any sign of the mirth she inwardly felt, meekly agreed that Mrs. Stimpson was undoubtedly well fitted to impersonate a queen, and that the costume of a Venetian doge was rather a trying one. After which her hostess proceeded, "Perhaps you're right, dear Lady Harriet, but the worst of it was that my boy Clarence, who would have made such a handsome Romeo, insisted on going as a Pierrot. Very likely you've seen Clarence. Oh, you would certainly have noticed him if you had. Always so well turned out. He's got quite a good post as secretary to an insurance company in the city. They think so highly of him there. Take his advice on everything. In fact, he practically is the company. And only 22. It's such a relief, because there was a time when it really seemed as if he'd never settle down to any regular work. Nothing would induce him to enter my husband's business. For I must tell you, Lady Harriet, we are in business. Sauces, pickles, condiments of every sort and description. Wholesale, you know, not retail. So I hope you aren't too dreadfully shocked." Lady Harriet remarked that she saw nothing to be shocked at. Several of her relations and friends were in business of various kinds, which gave Mrs. Wibberley Stimpson the opening she required. "Society has changed its views so much lately, has it not?" she said. "Why, the youngest partner in Mr. Wibberley Stimpson's firm is a younger son of the Earl of Fallowfields, Mr. Chervil Thistleton, and an honourable, of course. I dare say you're acquainted with him. Not?